Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here. I am Kira. So today we're going to talk about books again. Something in my eye. We are going to do the mid-year book freak out tag. It's going to be my second year, I think, doing this on my channel. Each we're going to answer, I think, 10 questions about all of the reads that you've made this year, and all related to books, of course. So for 2023, I have set myself to read 45 books. That is my goal. However, we have only read 13 books. I'm not even halfway through yet, but one of the books that I've read this year is almost 1,000 pages, so I forgive myself for that. So yeah, let's begin. The first question is, of course, the best book that I've read so far this year. And to be fair, I actually have read, I think, 3 to 4 books that I've rated 5 stars, but I think the most outstanding one would be this one. This is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. It's, of course, a classic written in, I think, 1800s by Charlotte Bronte. This concerns about our main character Jane living in poverty, living in the care of her aunt, where she was abused and eventually was sent to a boarding school. In the boarding school, she eventually made her way up and then graduated and tried to find her basically path in life, where she eventually was offered to be a governess in a household to a French girl, to a little French girl. She then meet the owner of this household, Mr. Rochester, and I feel like it's not a spoiler for me to say that she eventually fell in love with Mr. Rochester, because this is known as the Gothic-ish romance story. What I love the most about this book is basically, number one is the writing, of course. I think that day by day, I fell in love more and more with classics literature, and I feel like it's not as hard as we think it might be. And number two is the storyline. I really love the pace, suspense. Never watched the adaptation before. I've never read the story before, so this is something that is really fresh and new to me, and I really love the fact that I went in blindly because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's all I'm gonna say about this book. I don't want to spoil it too much, but you just know that I really love this. I would like to read more from Charlotte Bronte. This is quite accessible if you are even starting for classics. That's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and of course I thrifted this book. Speaking of thrift books, I have a very exciting announcement to make. I am collabing with booksnbobs to offer you 10% discount for any books that you're gonna buy in their website. You can easily just put in my code ShakiraBNB, check out any of the books purchased from booksnbobs website. If you haven't heard of booksnbobs, they are an online secondhand bookstore which offers a whole range of books, from fictions to non-fictions to all academia books, at a very, very affordable and cheap price. I love thrifting books because, number one, it's so cheap compared to getting it firsthand, and secondly, you are kind of giving these books a second chance in reading it, in living it, in homing it. So most of the time, as much as possible, try to find thrifted books instead of buying a new one. So yeah, don't forget to use my code for 10% off for any of your purchase with booksnbobs.com. And thank you so much, Booksnbobs, for agreeing to collab with me for this. The second question is the best sequel that I've read in 2023, which I'm not going to answer because I haven't read any sequel in 2023. There are actually a few sequels that I want to read, but I'm still in the middle of reading other stuff instead of the sequel, so I'm going to skip this. Now the third question is biggest disappointment in 2023, and I'm so sorry if this is your favorite book, but I am so disappointed in this book. This is Ocean Vuong's On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and I believe this is his debut novel. He has written few poetry before, but it's his first complete novel, I believe. This is a book, basically a letter written by our narrator. We call him Little Dog, about the everlasting effect of Vietnamese war. Our main character is a Vietnamese boy living in America with his mother and grandmother. Try to make ends meet, try to make a living, try to find a footing in their life with these traumas, these stories, this hurt haunting them in their lives. I actually enjoyed the first half of this book because I feel like it's going somewhere. But halfway through, I feel like the author lost the direction. I do not know where the book is leading. I do not know what the author is trying to do with this book. So it really fell short. I would understand why people love this book because of the writing. But other than that, it doesn't do much for me. It is sad, it is traumatizing, but that's about it. Also, I have a question. Would you write your dying mother about your first homosexual sex experience? I think not. I don't think so. I don't think it makes sense in that sense for me. But yeah, so that's why I feel like it's going everywhere. It's going about the trauma that he has with his mother, and then this whole homosexual relationship that he has with another guy. Is it traumatizing? Is it abusive? Is it not? Is it friendship? Is it real? Is it honest? I feel like it's going everywhere. So this is a disappointment for me personally. I think I give it 2.5, 2.75 or 3 stars for this book, and only and purely because of the writing, because it is with no doubt that the writing is so beautiful. But yeah, that's my complaint about this book. Number 4, biggest surprise of this year. I haven't finished reading this one, but I am so surprised that I really love this. This is Sophocles, Electra, Antigone and Philoctetes, a Greek and Roman play. If you may, I am very not well versed regarding Greek myth, Greek play. So I am so sorry if I butchered that name. But oh my god, I really love it. I do not know how could you read plays, because play is supposed to be watched, but you're basically reading it. And I love it. I love it so much. It's so dramatic. Well, so basically it follows 3 different plays. I have only read Electra and Antigone, but so far these 2, I've loved it. I loved it so much. It's very fast paced. It's very accessible if you are a first timer as well like me. So I don't think I want to tell you what is it about because it's very short. I mean, the writing is so simple but so beautiful. What good does all your empty anger do? I feel what has happened too. I feel it bitterly. If only I dared. If only I had the strength, I'd show my hate. But I prefer to bend before the storm. This is in Electra. And in Antigone, eagerness for money is the greatest curse of all. It breaks up homes, destroys cities, twists the minds of men, turns them from honesty and leads them on to break their country's laws and despise the gods. I really love this. I know that this was going to be a 5 stars read for me this year. So this is the biggest surprise that I've had this year. And also I got this from booksnbobs. Question is favorite new author. This is Interview with a Vampire, and I bought this also from booksnbobs. So basically this is about, well, an interview with a vampire named Louis, where he has been turned into a vampire by another vampire, very old vampire named Lestat. They quickly become very codependent on each other, and then eventually make a very grave mistake of turning another girl, like a 5-year-old girl, into a vampire. They named the girl Claudia. So basically this girl, Claudia, is growing up, becoming a woman basically in her mind, but she's still stuck in a 5-year-old body. So it's really sad to think that, but that's what happened, and it quickly become very dark, very tragic. I'm trying so hard to find like basically a family in their lives. I think I cried reading this book and love the plot, love the writing so much. I heard that Anne Rice write this book to cope with the loss of her own child, in which it makes so much sense because there are a lot of questions regarding death, mortality, life, existence, and everything surrounding it. It's gonna give you an existential crisis, I would say. I love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. Really love it. I'm gonna continue reading the second one. Please buy it. The 6th question is newest favorite character or crush. It's very bad when you're married and you have a crush on a fictional character, but it's okay. I think I'll allow it. This is Beach Read by Emily Henry, and of course my crush is Augustus Everett. I mean, a handsome guy writing literary fiction. There is something so attractive about guys that are smart, so I think he's one of my newest favorite fictional character. The 7th question is book that made you cry. Well, to be fair, other than Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, I also cried reading this. This is worse because I literally throw this book across the room after finish reading it. So if you haven't heard of James of Tomes book club, basically we read this book for the month of January, if I'm not mistaken. It is a book club organized by Emma from the channel Emmy and Caroline from the channel Caroline Mary Reads. If you still want to join us, you can still go on, because we are reading The Brothers Karamazov and The Stranger for the month of May and June, I believe, and then The Awakening and Orlando for the month of July and August, if I'm not mistaken. But you can check their page and their YouTube to check it out. I didn't know what I delved into when I read this, so I thought that it's just going to be like stories about war, because I think this is the story concerning or the background of World War One, where we are following this man, an American guy, ambulance driver if I'm not mistaken, sent for the First World War, and his meeting with an English nurse, and it quickly becomes a love story. I'm so sad just to think about it, because it's so tragic, and to see how tiring and exhausting war actually is, how much of it is not just war in a large scale, but war towards, or how it has been perceived and felt for this very individual that was involved in the war itself. It is so sad. It is so, I think, very deafening, very exhausting, because they basically have no power to stop it, but they are involved in it. It feels so frustrating to think it that way, but that was what had happened. I pray to God that Second World War would be like the last war that we ever had. Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. I'm so sorry if I keep on rubbing my nose, because I don't know what is it. I think it's the rug that I'm currently sitting on. The question is book that made you happy. A Man Called Youve by Frederick Backman. Well, this is actually a debut, I think, by Frederick Backman, but it's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. I mean, this is not really a sunshine type of book, but the writing is so funny. The characters are so funny. It's about this old man called Youve living alone after the death of his beloved wife. His loss of his wife is so unbearable. He doesn't want to go on with the life anymore. But then it changes when he got himself a new neighbor, this woman basically. You never know how much love and care would save a person's life, but this book just shows how much it would. Youve is the most, or the grumpiest old guy that you will ever meet. So funny because of that, to see how he kind of reacted and dealt with his new neighbor with two kids, two daughters of their own, and eventually have a newfound relationship. It's the story is so simple, but it's so heartwarming. I love the story so much. I love the writing so much. I gave this book 5 stars and highly recommend it. Number 9 is most beautiful book that you've ever bought or received, and this time it's received because my colleague lost the bet with me kinda, so he bought me this from, of course, Books and Bobs. This is the selected poems of Emily Dickinson in this, I am not sure what edition is this in, but it's fairly new. You can see that it's not been read yet, I believe. It's so pretty. Look at the flowers on the cover. I've never read Emily Dickinson before. Yeah, so this is it. Thank you, Hasra, for giving me this book. So we are off to the last question, which is, what books do you need to read by the end of this year? Let's be honest, we need to read a lot more books this year, but keep it down to 3 books. So I wanted to show you as well what I got from Books and Bobs. 2 of these books I got from Books and Bobs, and another one I think I got it from Popular. The first one is White Sargasso Sea. I do not really want to know much before I delve in the book, because I feel like I love to go in, like I said, blindly without knowing much. But yeah, this is a White Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. The second one that I got, of course, from Books and Bobs as well, is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I think I will try reading this, but I know that this is some sort of a magical realism or magical book. And again, I do not know much, but I've heard so many good things, so many good reviews about this book. Look at this book. It's untouched, it's unscathed, so you can never go wrong with buying secondhand books, I promise. Third one that I really want to read by this year is Roman Alam, Leave the World Behind. I'm gonna be honest, I actually have read first few pages, I think 20 pages in, but I stopped because I need to give way to other books that I need to read because of the book club first, because I want to join in the book club discussion and whatnot, so I stopped reading it, but I would want to continue reading this. This is a bit scary, and it's not horror per se, but basically it consists about this family living in New York City, if I'm not mistaken, to have vacations in the Airbnb, where suddenly they receive news that New York City is having a blackout, and at the same time receiving the real owner of the Airbnb that they're living in. So I think this book touched a lot about hotels, Airbnbs, renting or living people to live in your house, or is living in people's house, and tourism theme in that sense. And of course, I think again about cell phones and how dependent we are on technology, on news, on social media and whatnot. Those are my mid-year book freakout tag. If you want to do it, I'm gonna leave the questions down below as well for you. Don't forget to use my code ShakiraBNB for 10% discount at booksnbobs.com website. So I think that's all for today. I'm going to see you again whenever. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, lovely night, whenever. See you again. Bye bye.